Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. What is today? Inauguration Day. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. It's terrible, isn't it? To see that we have to live through this for another 4 years. Are you kidding me? We have to live through this another 4 years. But you know what, folks? Let's rejoice because we know what we have to do. We know what we have to do. But you know what's a good thing, guys? We started with a fake. I want to show you guys something. I said this is actually emblematic to who Donald Trump is, and it starts with his wife right at the beginning of the inauguration. I had to get a clip of this. I had to get a clip of it and say, I got to show my peeps this now. I got to show my peeps. Check this out. Even the kiss is fake. We're going into, yes, a fake era, a dangerous era, a sad era. But you know what? We are going to get out of it just fine. Activism is what it's going to take. Let's get busy. Let's get busy. All right? The pushback, the opposition, the resistance is on. Welcome aboard, AVQ from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome aboard as well. We have para ver Alizarin Dreams from here in my area. God, I always forget that town right a little bit east of me. And welcome aboard E2247. Welcome aboard Bridge MCP from Binghamton, New York. Welcome Lee Grant, Montgomery County. Welcome aboard, Eric Hayes, Kingwood Atascocita. We've also got in the house, I'm scrolling down. Mike Cisak from Missouri, I believe. I think I got the folks that I've registered so far on the internet. Let's see. Rodnin says, Egberto, here's a beautiful idea for the screen. We have 4 years of hardship and horror awaiting us. All that includes the conservatives who are currently cheering it on, not realizing they're next. For everyone else, it's good opportunity to check your blocked channels. Let me tell you, let's be clear here, people. Let's be clear. Let me put that on the screen for you, Brother Radnin. Let's get that onto the screen. Let's be clear here. Go to YouTube under live and pick not interested to all the inauguration coverage. Then do searches for Martin Luther King Jr. and watch that instead. Mess with the algorithm. The only problem with that is, that would initially mess with the algorithm. I agree. The only problem is when they see you messing with the algorithm, they go ahead and they adjust the algorithm as well. But anyway, I love that idea. Michael Rudden, love that idea. Michael also says, Egberto, there's this satirical video I just watched from Jonathan Pye describing the nightmare scenario that I've been worried about for the last decade, which we are likely to start live years where the automation replaces half the jobs, a new world order, a reemergence of serfdom, a society where a select few own all the robots and all the money, and everyone else just rots because there aren't any jobs because of the robots have got them. So the gap between the super rich and the super poor becomes so vast that it is almost likely there are no species of human. A select few will own all the money, more power, more data, and more rest of the world. Look. You are genius for bringing that up. But here is the deal. I've spoken about this before. And I want you to listen to this, my brothers and sisters. I've spoken about this before. Automation, AI, robotics. There are two ways to look at this. In a capitalist society, which is a capitalist society, which is extractive, which is, what is the word? It's monopolistic, extractive, and extortative. That is, if those technologies are developed under that society, the ultimate result of what Brother Rudnin just spoke about is true. But there's an alternate reality, a real reality. AI is the It's the aggregate knowledge of all of us. As such, AI as a country, we should not allow it to be controlled by these oligarchs. Likewise, robotics are created from the aggregate knowledge and aggregate activities of what we do. As such, it should not be controlled by the oligarchy. So what is the solution? The solution is engagement. The solution is to make sure of the following. We have to change the mindset first of the American people. The American people see AI and robotics as something they're competing against instead of something they have created collectively to make their lives better. So if we change how we feel, if we change not how we only feel, but understand the reality of AI and robotics and all these other issues, then we will know that we own those technologies. We own that knowledge. And if we accept that, then what we will do is we will be able to do policies like this. We will no longer have a 40-hour week. We'll have a 20-hour week. Or maybe we'll have a 40 on, 40 off week, which, all these different, this opens us up to think of what's better for society if we choose to educate Americans, educate the world on the real issues. Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and all these guys have created nothing. They are coming as a cabal to continue the misinformation and to the demeaning of your psyche so that you are fearful of something we all created. My brothers and my sisters, it is important when I talk about elections, etc. For us to win elections, we have to be everywhere. But it's more than that. We also have to be there educating and changing that indoctrination that we receive from the inception of our lives because of the economic system that is nothing more than antiseptic slavery that we have learned to adapt to. It shouldn't be we adapting to an economic system. It has to be an economic system adapting to humanity. And when we understand that, and when we teach people of their worth, their work and their worth, then they will exigir, they will demand that reality. So we have to stop preaching. You notice what Trump did in his speech today. I am going to drill, baby, drill, baby, drill, baby, drill, because we are going to use what's under the earth. We don't have to use what's under the earth if we expand our minds. Then he talks about, I'm going to kill the electric car industry so that the car manufacturers who make these old style combustion engine cars will be able to keep their jobs. False equivalence, false reality. We have to teach Americans that creating a new economy means more jobs than the old economy, and it also means that we create a society we can live in. We have to get smart. And those of us that are preaching the progressive message have got to get smart. We should be preaching our knowledge from a position of strength. We should be the aggressors. We should be offensive, not defensive with the policies we support. We have got to go on the offense, and not just in our cities, but in the rural areas. We got to go out there and perform. Okay. So therefore, we have to change the paradigm. AI, a great thing. Robotics, a great thing. Created by whom? Collectively by all of us. As such, we should all participate in the spoils and not the oligarchy. And as such, we elect the people who will bust the oligarchy and ensure that collectively we do this. Remember, inventions don't come from the oligarchy. Innovation doesn't come from the oligarchy. People that don't get paid but a salary create innovation, create technologies, and the capitalists just use it and make you believe that absent capital, these things don't occur. Well, you know who can create capital? Something called we the people. And you know who actually have really created most of what's out there? We the people. And how did we do it? With the capital funded by the government. The NIH created all these new medicines or the technologies used for these medicines. The universities created all the new technologies on materials, etc. Created by whom? We the people. Don't be fooled into thinking that technology was created by those with capital and somehow they should have omnipotence over us. It is false. But most people have been indoctrinated with all these little notions. Innovation required these huge profits. Absent this, it doesn't exist. We've got to bust the paradigm and we can prove it. And the proof is, ask all the people who own patents and see how many of them are billionaires. Ask all of them. And you realize they're not. The billionaires are just funge capitalists. They funge capital. The real people invent and create. All right, moving on. ICT News. Leonard Peltier granted clemency as President Biden leaves office. The 80-year-old Turtle Mound elder will go home to live out his remaining years. Peltier is quoted as saying as an NDN collective news release, it's finally over. I'm going home. I want to show the world I'm a good person with a good heart. I want to help the people just like my grandmother taught me. Indian Collective founder and chief executive officer Nick Tilson, who has fought for Peltier's clemency, is looking forward to Peltier's going home and said in a statement, Leonard Peltier's freedom today is the 50th years of intergenerational resistance, organizing, and advocacy. Leonard Peltier's liberation is our liberation. We will honor him by bringing him back to his homelands to live out the rest of his days surrounded by loved ones, healing and reconnecting with his land. Tilson previously called Peltier the longest living indigenous political prisoner in the history of the United States. President Biden will be missed in the hard days to come. This is the last act of a good man. Leonard Peltier was convicted on bogus charges and should have been released decades ago. No time like the present. Got that right. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Welcome. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. If I miss something, it's because I'm scrolling fast. All right. MAGA Day, Lee Grant thinks, yeah, it's the day that the MAGA folks are going to realize that Trump isn't their friend and that he is going to take so much more from them. But you know, a lot of them will fool themselves into not believing it, but it'll happen. It'll believe. Okay, let's continue. Call to action. Summerwood. Thank you, sis. Alizarian Dream. Summerwood. I don't know why I went blank. Okay, Egberto, image not on screen. Oh, I eventually put it on the screen. I actually saw it on the screen, so I know I eventually got there. All right, let's continue. Progressives have nothing? No, progressives have everything. Okay, what else have we got here? I'm scrolling down. Paul Fleming says President Joe Biden has pardoned Dr. Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, and members of the House committee that investigated January 6th attack on the Capitol. He did a great thing. Absolutely so. Let's see what else we've got here. Joe, good. Joe, I hope you're keeping cool. Joe says, good afternoon, and say it yes, and intelligently critical thinking, firmly said, solid ground. Thank you. Of course, what we do here. Paul Fleming said, Mark Cuban advises young people to approach their careers the same way that any professional athletes do, like they are free agents. I agree 100%. Alistair Waters says, about damn time for Leonard Peltier. Yes, ma'am. All right, scrolling down. If I miss you, forgive me. Alistair C says, thank God Peltier was freed. Had TV off today. So first ask of. All right, let's see. Let me go put on the screen for our beautiful lady there. Here we go on the screen. Let's get it onto the screen. And it goes this way. Give us Barabbas. Isn't that the guy who gave up Jesus? I believe, right? I think Barabbas is who gave up Jesus. So who's going to give up Trump, or Trump gave up somebody? I'm not sure. All right. Let's get busy with our first, our second video. The first video I thought was a bit funny. The one that I want to do, this one is dear to my heart. Oh, another Trump inauguration video. This one is from this morning. A caller called in, and this is what he had to say. I thought it was funny, and let's get a little bit of light here. Be a little light here. Check it out. Let's go to Bruce. Come on in, Bruce.
Good morning. This will be very fast. I got three things. First, thank you for educating me about TikTok. I was ignorant. It's not a shame to be ignorant, but it's a sin for a man to recognize his ignorance and not do something about it. Second, it's not an inauguration. It's a coronation. I'm not going to watch it. And third, I'm surprised Donald Trump didn't propose that California just hire some Russian women to pee on the fire. Thank you.
Oh, my God, Bruce. Thank you for that one.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand.
Okay. I thought that was funny. Oh, by the way, folks, sorry about that, E2247. Let me read your call to action. Call to action that we all be better citizens and actually insist our government not deploy citizen soldiers into unnecessary war and domestic ops. Was there a video with that or something? Okay, the link is actually an article, folks, that our brother E2247 called me out for not putting out there. I kind of glanced over it. There is the article that he wants you to read. What I want to know, check it out. He has the link in the chat. Thank you, E2247. All right, let's see what else we got here. Para ver, Egberto, why did you swallow? Oh, I took care of that already. Sorry about that, E2247. Okay. Can't believe you refused to call to action that we all better. Oh, come on. All you had to do is kind of tell me not to do. You don't have to scold me on this one, E2247. Come on now. You know who we are. All right. Now, you know what Trump said today? He wants to invade my country. He wants to invade the country of my birth. Okay, check this out. I want you guys to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side. Okay? Yep, I just got a call from another activist. Egberto, are you guys going to allow Donald Trump to take back the canal? Donald Trump, in his speech, after mentioning about McKinley, renaming Mount Denali to Mount McKinley, and going back to how things were before, and McKinley is the one who invested in creating the Panama Canal, and 38,000 people died building the canal, making it seem like 38,000 Americans died building the canal, and we're going to take the canal back because it is now controlled by China. All lies, of course. Let's be clear here. These 38,000 people, most of these folks that died building the canal, you know who they are? They're my ancestors. I am from Panama. My ancestors built the Panama Canal. Not only that, my ancestors attempted to build the Panama Canal, the sea level Panama Canal under the Lesseps. The American came with a different engineering model to build that canal, got it done, and it created an apartheid state surrounding the canal that lasted up and until 1979 and was turned over completely in 1999. I want you to listen to how Donald Trump characterizing stealing the canal from Panama, and then we'll move to the next segment.
We will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, I mean, think of this, spent more more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
First, let me make one clear statement. Any attempt for the United States to take the Panama Canal away from Panama, there's only one solution that will occur. The non-existence of a Panama Canal if any attempt is made to take that canal. So if he does that, the amount of locations of vulnerability in that canal can only exist in a stable nation of happy people that have no ill intent towards a canal of that type. This isn't the Suez Canal that is sea level. This is a canal that depends on locks and lakes that are built within locks, etc. Very vulnerable structure. No Panamanian activists will allow the retaking of the Panama Canal and keep that canal in existence. Punto y final. Eso no va a pasar en ninguna forma. It will happen in no form. Now, the idea that we allowed a thug, the thug that runs this country right now, the criminal that runs this country right now, the guy who has been called a rapist by a judge to run this particular country. We selected somebody who steals wages from people to run this country, who grabs women by their private parts, who don't consider them human beings, a man who steals from charity, a man who defrauds the government of the taxes he owes. Why is he going to Panama again? Well, there are many reasons he's trying to take the canal back. And here they are. It's a vendetta against Panama. Because why? Look, Panama courts evict Trump management from hotel in a bitter spat. And another one for you. Lawsuit alleges Trump evaded taxes on Panama hotel project. And there are many more. There are a lot of folks who are living within his buildings, who bought his condos, who are drug dealers, who are money launderers. And it's been exposed. So his name is crap in Latin America, where it comes to using it as a brand for hotels, etc. And that's the reason he wants to get back at Panama, because they had the nerve to call out the Trump organization. And now that he's president, he wants to get payback. And that's the kind of a petty man that he is. That's the kind of a petty felon that he is. That is the type of person we have as government. Not about America, not about the world. It's about me, and me. Well, Donald Trump is just spewing BS about taking the Panama Canal back, because any military person will tell Mr. Trump that the canal is not a defensible entity in a system where it is where such vulnerabilities exist. And I tell you what, every single Panamanian now controlling that canal will not allow a foreign nation to come in and say, we will take back this resource. As I said, my ancestors built that canal. I am now an American citizen. I do not believe anyone should defy the treaties signed. America has been known to do that over and over. Treaties with with the native people, disregarded. Treaties with Iran, disregarded. Treaties with Paris and the Paris Accord, the rest of the world, disregarded. At what point does a treaty mean anything to a pompous felon like Donald Trump? It is important, folks, that the resistance stay in resistance mode and we slow down the damage that this guy is about to inflict on our nation. We have a lot of work to do, but we cannot allow him to succeed in destroying this country. And it starts with progressives moving into taking control of a party and working within that party and ensuring the next election is won from broad base by all. Absolutely. So I want to show you the mentality of some precocious American entities. Let's look at what Eric has to say. We have the Panama Canal, owned by Panama, run by Panama in a sovereign nation. Okay? Now, I said Panamanians will not, I repeat, Panamanians will not allow America or any other country to come into Panama and take that canal or run that canal, etc. Just like nobody could come into America and run the dams and railroads or anything. Nobody will be allowed to do that. But Donald Trump says in his speech, he's going to come and take the canal. The only way you're going to take the canal is if you invoke violence on the Panamanian people like you did when you killed 10,000 people in Panama in 1989. That's the only way. So who is the violent? Who is the terrorist? Who is the aggressor then? And here we have our most revered critical thinker in the chat. Eric Hayes says, Egberto Willies promising violence over Panama Canal. No, we're saying if a terrorist comes into Panama and attempts to take the canal, they will not be allowed. And if that terrorist happens to have bigger guns, we have smaller technologies to make the canal useless for them. It's that simple. That simple. A canal of the type that Panama has requires a stable government and stable relationships, which is what Panama has. Panama has stable relationships with everybody. And thus there's nobody that wants to blow up the canal. But if somebody comes and tries to take that canal, the right thing for every proud Panamanian to do is to ensure that entity doesn't get to do it. America was once the leader of an apartheid state in Panama. It was called the Canal Zone. I lived there. Nobody has to tell me this. I lived through it. I lived through the first and second class citizen in my own country. So please, I don't want anybody here, let alone somebody like Brother Hayes, trying to give the impression that the aggressor is anyone other than the United States if Trump tries to go in there and take the canal. Trump would be the terrorist, just like Bush too was the terrorist when he killed 10,000 Panamanians to get one man, Manuel Antonio Noriega. Let's understand. Let's get the narrative correct. Let's be careful and get the narrative correct. And there's no negotiations for no canal, Mr. Okay, there's no negotiation. The canal belongs to Panama. The United States the United States need to mind our own business. Period. Just like they want to take Greenland because it means security for the United States. Well, if some piece of land means security for the United States, negotiate with them, maybe exchange, maybe give them $1 billion or something like that. If you think that is so valuable to you, we do the capitalist thing, right? Por favor, esta pendejada. All right, let's go ahead now and listen. I have some messages for you guys on TikTok. I want you to listen to my TikTok message. In detail. Here we go, and then we'll take it on the other side. Vámonos, ahora comienza. I want to talk a little bit about TikTok. TikTok. Look, I am not a super influencer on TikTok like I see these folks who are, there's some darn good people on TikTok, Instagram, and all. I mean, these young folks, the younger ones, they are great in the way they can produce on TikTok. I do a whole lot on TikTok as well, but I don't have that creativity that a lot of these folks have. I'm just a straight out activist that go out there and throw stuff up, and luckily some of it take off, some of it doesn't take off, but you have some people out there doing some good stuff. Then again, you have the philosophers and the teachers and all these great people that finally found themselves a platform whose algorithm actually worked, right? It actually worked. I have been able, by the way, I don't look at any social media platform to get my information as fact. I use the social media platforms as tools. TikTok may come up that tickles me. I go and validate whether, before I talk to you guys about it, I go ahead and validate it with other independent sources to verify that the information is correct, the information is accurate. And if I find it to be that way, I start to promote that type of messaging, etc. And in doing that, I get a lot of reliable historians, a lot of reliable scientists, engineers, all these folks. I've built the algorithm has given me a reliable baseline. How do I know that? Because I still fact check it, even if it sounds real, and I don't take it at face value. I fact check it. But anyhow, but TikTok has a whole lot of crap on it as well, right? People come out there and they lie to you. They create stories and I fact check those too. But that is not something that is restricted to TikTok. It's the same thing that applies to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, chat. I mean, all these other applications. There's no difference. And by the way, is it true that maybe negative information about China doesn't show up on TikTok, given that TikTok is a ByteDance company that's a Chinese-owned company? Actually, I believe that. I believe that they are actually hiding or not really promoting messages that are negative to the China. Yes, they're doing that. And, is that something that is fatal or a bad thing? It's a thing that countries do. It's a thing that countries do. By the way, I've said negative things about China on messages, and the reality is, I guess I'm a low performer influencer on TikTok, but it still gets the same amount of visuals that I get when I talk about the United States, or that I talk about Panama or Costa Rica or whatever. I have seen no difference in my content, whether I talk about China or anything else. But I do believe for large influencers, if they said something negative about China, there may be some filters in there that attenuates how far that goes. Is that a bad thing? It's a thing. It's a thing that countries do. You know who does it very well? We do. We do the same thing to protect the ideals of what we think America is, right? Whenever you think about, I'll give you some great examples. Whenever you talk about human rights and how we are so protective of human rights around the country, our news media doesn't show that we are one of the countries that most affect human rights. We're the country that incarcerates more people than any other country in the world. Human rights. We're the country that enslaved a whole lot of people. Human rights. We're a country that truly, and this is not even up for debate, truly had a genocide. We are the country that threw the people who were here originally into reservations and took their land. We are the country who goes overseas into Africa and other countries, and now the African leaders are really raising hell about it. They're attacking France. They're not attacking Israel, but they're taking back their birthrights from these colonists that came in and took their raw materials and then sell it back to them as finished products. We do that, but we don't publicize it in that context. Our history books put a facade onto the bad things that we do. By me saying this about America, my now country, that I'm proud to be an American doesn't make me a traitor. It just makes me an honest person saying these are the things that we've done. Other countries, no country is free of doing, it's clear of doing bad things to many of its people. That's just reality. I can talk about the bad things that Colombia, Panama, and all these other people have done to different people. They're indigenous. They're the slaves that they brought from Africa. I can talk about African countries that have done bad things to other African. It is just a reality. But to single out China and TikTok for propagandizing Americans, I can tell you that the biggest propaganda that has occurred in America is Trump. That Trump became president, that we got plausibility of a person who a judge said is a rapist, of a person who stole money from the citizenry by having them believe they're going to a university that wasn't really a university and had to pay $25 million in restitution, for a person who actively grabs women by their private parts, who says he does it, who throws kisses onto women by force, who was convicted. For a person like that to have plausibility to be the president again of a country after knowing all those realities. Though, how do you think that happened? You propagandize a certain sect within your population that made that a possibility. That was a much more dangerous propaganda by all our media resources than anything TikTok could have done. In an article on Common Dreams, it's a long article. I've linked it to it from the politicsdoneright.com newsletter. But there's a phrase that they use in the article that said the following: America, where it is okay to ban TikTok, books, and abortions, but not okay to ban assault weapons, bombs for genocide, or student debt. Think about that statement again. It is okay to ban TikTok, books, and abortions, but not okay to ban assault weapons, bombs for genocide, and student debt. Think about that. Just hours ahead of the ceasefire taking effect in Gaza, Turner, who co-chaired Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign, also emphasized that they really banned TikTok before they banned sending weapons to Israel. If Congress actually gave a damn about our data privacy, she added, they would have passed a sweeping data privacy bill, not a bill targeting TikTok. In a Sunday email to supporters, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who also voted against the law, agreed, stressing that the answer is not just plain endless whack-a-mole with apps. We should have a real privacy legislation in the United States, she said. We should help people have greater agency over their personal information so that they're not being spied on all the time, whether it is a domestic company or a foreign company, to which, of course, big tech and their lobbies are going to fight against. So they just target an app instead of targeting the problem. Do you know that as soon as they passed the TikTok ban, many of those Congress people ran to buy, guess what? Facebook stocks. They went and they bought Facebook stocks. I mean, it's all a fraud. It's all a fraud. TikTok is no more a danger than Instagram, than Facebook, or any other app that collects data. In fact, let me go further with China. China can get, if not already has, in fact, I'm pretty sure they have, our data, and there are much better ways to get our data than open themselves up to TikTok acquiring your data. You know what's a better way to do it? They can simply go to Facebook. They can simply go to YouTube that collects the same data that TikTok collects and buy it. So what in effect this law does is say, well, capitalists, we can't allow TikTok to collect the data, but if China wants to pay millions of dollars to Facebook or millions of dollars to YouTube or any one of these guys, hey, You can have the people's data. You can have our data because after all, as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, there is no privacy laws to protect Facebook and all these guys from selling your data to China. And, China not going to go to Facebook and say, hey, sell me your data. They're going to use a whole bunch of companies all around the United States to go buy the data and then just ship it off. We are so hoodwinked as a country. They think we are so stupid that they do these things to us. So now, and I'm going to go to the callers right after this, but I want to get you to realize this now. TikTok just joined the fold. Yesterday, I think they shut down TikTok. I think actually it was Saturday night. They shut down TikTok and they put, we're shutting it down, but Donald Trump is working to help us bring it back up. And then yesterday, they brought it back up and said, because of what Donald Trump has done, TikTok is back up. So you have all these Gen Zers that, again, get all their information from all these different media forms, etc., that going to realize, wow, when Biden was president, they took TikTok away. And when Donald Trump came, we got TikTok back. But here's the kicker. Donald Trump is the one who started the avalanche of writing a law to ban TikTok. He's the one who started it. You see, a lot of folks wrote later on, Democrats got played. Democrats didn't get played. Democrats got played. The Democratic leadership didn't get played. They know exactly what they're doing. It's all the establishment. And when we realize that there's no real, in that place they call the centrist or the middle, when we realize there's no Democrat and Republican, it's just about how to best take power and maximize the profits of a few, then we're going to learn something. Then we will be able to make the change. And you know what we are here for, brothers and sisters? Just the truth. And that's what you're going to get here. Just the truth. Just the truth. That's what you get here. Just the truth. Hey, look, a friend of ours, she she was arrested because she protested at a Houston Independent School District meeting. What we're telling activists and parents and everybody, go out there and be heard. That's what the right wing has done, and that's how they've taken a whole lot of control. Well, we have a woman in our circles, if you will, who did just that. And she was arrested for just trying to execute her own, her way of being. So this morning, Neil Aquino called in to urge all of you to call the Harris County District Attorney to make sure and drop charges against her. Let me go ahead and play that, and we'll take it on the other side. Let's go to Neil. I hope this is Neil Aquino with that subject about the school board.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And thanks for having me on a Monday. With the Houston Democracy Project, we keep a local focus. And there's someone very specifically I want to talk about, Sarah Terrell, Terrell, Sarah Terrell. And Sarah was arrested at the most recent HISD so-called Board of Managers meeting this past Thursday. Sarah is a regular attendee, has a great record of advocacy. Long before the so-called Board of Managers was appointed, Sarah talking about budget issues, talking about transparency, talking about proper treatment of teachers and students. Sarah Terrell is a tremendous advocate, and she was the board president. Sarah called out at the board meeting on Thursday. Board president told her to, not call out. They went around it 2 or 3 times, and Sarah ended up being dragged out, and no hyperbole, dragged out. The picture of her is her dragged out of the school board meeting, and she faces trespassing charges. Now, it's ironic, right? It's a public building, and these people replaced the elected board. Governor Abbott replaced the elected board, and she's charged with trespassing. And so my ask here for all our listeners is to email Sean Tier, the district attorney. You can to ask that the charges be dropped. And there's an email, community engagement at community engagement at dao.hctx.net. Community engagement at dao.htcx.net. And you can go to the website of the Harris County District Attorney and find that address under community engagement. Sean Tier, who we're glad that he's elected. This is not a criticism of Sean Tier, but if you recall, community engagement and activism helped get him elected. There was the censure of him by Democratic County Precinct Chair, censure of Kim Ogg, the censure of Kim Ogg by Democratic County Precinct Chairs in December of 2023. That was a big step along the way to defeating Kim Ogg. So he won with the help of community activism. Sarah's supposed to be in court on Saturday, and I'm going to give that address one more time, and I appreciate you letting me have 2 minutes here. Community engagement at dao.hctx.net, but it's also on the website of the District Attorney, Sean Tier.
You know, Sarah Terrell has been on our program several times. In fact, right. She came on to discuss the bond issue that they had, that where they wanted to rip off Houstonians of several billion dollars, and she made sure to come on here, and they summarily defeated that bond proposal. So we have, we have some great activists that we bring on to this program all of the times. Yes, folks, listen to what Neil Aquino has to say, and please contact the district attorney with your opinion on why would we get an activist who's working for the people, for your students, for your children, to ensure that I don't want to call them thugs quite yet, but those who are controlling the Houston Independent School District, not from what you want, but from what Governor Abbott wants. So please go ahead and do that. Thank you very much, Neil. Anything else you need to say real quickly?
No, thank you for the time. And you know that the board was just found to have spent $870 million without proper authorization. The Mike Miles, it's incredible that you can spend $870 million incorrect. I'm going to give the web address one more time, and then I'm going to make a contribution to the show. So it's pledged. This is a great show. Local activism is celebrated here, and I appreciate it. The web address is community engagement at dao.hct.net. You can go to the website of the District Attorney, Sean Tier, and there's a blog post about the matter at HoustonDemocracyProject.com. There's a blog. Very appreciative of the time. Sarah's in court Friday, and as we enter this new Trump era, if we don't stick up for people who are willing to be brave, who's going to stick up for us? So I appreciate to Egberto's. There's a lot on the line. Authoritarianism will require a local infrastructure. These migrants are not going to deport themselves. We're in for a rough road, so we've got to look out for each other. Egberto does a great job. The studio team, and when Egberto tells you that the show is about the listener, that's exactly what he tells me before we're on the air. When I come on each Thursday with the Democracy Project segment, he does tremendous preparation, takes great care, and I urge everyone to contribute, as I'm going to do as soon as I'm off this call.
Thank you so kindly, Neil. You have a wonderful rest of your day, my brother.
Thanks for letting me on. Thank you all.
Yes, sir. All right, folks. Let me tell you guys, it is important that we continue our activism. Some of us are going to give up our bodies. Some of us are going to, we just want to give a big shout out to Sarah Terrell for what she has done. And we want to make sure and provide whatever support we need to provide to her. Anyway, folks, we have about 5 minutes left. Anybody wants to call in? This is the time. I'll be giving my ask in a little bit. Let's see what I've got here. Alistair says, the middle of a donut and the middle of the political spectrum have nothing in common. No substance. There you go. Wait. Have the middle of it. Let's see what else we got here. Farabet. I want to make sure I don't miss Farabet. Okay. All right, Alistair says the middle of a donut and of the political have something in common. That doesn't have something, no substance. That is very true, Alistair. Very, very true. Okay, I had read it wrong before. All right, let's see what else we have here. Houston Democracy Project is an independent advocate for democracy in Houston, Harris County, and Texas. NeilAquino.com. Yeah, that is my good friend. Very good guy. Very good activist as well. All right, let's see what else we've got. For the record, socialism is when the fire department shows up. Capitalism is when the insurance company refuses to pay. There you go. Perfect. Joe says, I like the donut metaphor, but it is meaningless unless substance community, local activism everywhere make the circle tight, not fluffy donut ring. You're right. And we got to keep engaged. And that's one of my goals with me being a mouthpiece. I can't be out in the field everywhere like I used to be earlier on because of the amount of effort and work it takes to do this. So I've got to be one of the, if you will, urging folks to do X, Y, Z. It's time for us to do this. The narrative is supposed to do this. I do my part in that regards now. Write books, all of that, and try to sustain myself with all of these. And don't forget, two important books, man. And that is, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, and How to Make America Utopia. Those two are the physical stuff of understanding the economy. And then, of course, we have the How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative. It's worth it. How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative, Friends, and Neighbors. Anyway, folks, if nobody calls me at 281-823-7747, I am going to move into the ask, and then we're going to shut this baby down. Please go ahead, folks, and support the program however you can. The easiest way to support the program is to become a paid subscriber of my newsletter. You can get there by just going to politicsandright.com/newsletter, or right there on Substack, egberto.substack.com, and just become a paid subscriber. You do that, you are helping me continue to do this. Right now, we're way behind, and our funds are pretty damn disappeared. So please go ahead. And when I say funds, I mean my retirement. So please go ahead and support that I put all in here now so far by choice, because this is how important I think this is. So please support us. Go to politicsandright.com/newsletter or egberto.substack.com. Also, I didn't put that in the link. I need to put that in the feed. What's wrong with me today? I guess because we're having a freeze here and I got to go start wrapping some pipes when I get out of here. All right, there we go. Politicsandright.com/newsletter. If you want to subscribe, become a paid subscriber, please go there. Likewise, you can support us on Patreon, politicsandright.com/Patreon, however you want to do it. But we right now are trying to build our base, our Substack base, because again, we already know. Let me give a little quick speech here. We already know that we are getting throttled, and we're going to be throttled even more. And whereas at first it had to be folks trying to get you throttled, human beings trying to get you throttled, that's not the case anymore. AI is so powerful that in real time, they know what I'm talking about. In real time, they know they can listen to what I'm saying, and based on certain keywords or certain and they do it intelligently. They know, okay, let's reduce this throttle to make sure it doesn't get as many hits or whatever. That is what we're going through. So my goal now is to build a humongous email database where I can promote the message to, let's say, 100,000 folk. And those 100,000 folk all promote the message to their field. Let's say 20 people, and they teach those 20 people each to go to 20 people. We reach the entire country segmented using exponential progression, geometric exponential progression. So it's important for us to do this. So help us out here. Please go ahead and become a paid subscriber via politicsandright.com/newsletter. And I'm going to put it in there one more time. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto. Let's see. Joe says, may I print and let a friend read one of your books I have access to online? No commercial, like lending a friend a book. I think if you do it through Amazon, I think the lend a book actually works. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. But if you have a friend that you think would be it, just give me their emails and we'll work out something. Anyway, folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.